o'clock. Roll call. Kalaja,
Here.
Flintoff,
Here.
Kingsley,
Here.
Hathaway,
Present.
McLaughlin is absent. Navarre here. Westman absent.
McLaughlin's not remote.
He was, but he's no longer on.
Oh, okay. At this time, we'll open the meeting for public participation. Is there anyone online that would like to participate at this time? Say anything?
Please raise your Zoom hand. I see no Zoom hands.
Okay. We'll assume no participation by the public at this time. So the next thing on the agenda will be the approval of the last meeting. That's easy for me to say, the last meeting minutes of January 9th, first thing in the package.
I move approval of the minutes as drafted.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So do I have to vote? We have to vote?
No,
We don't, do we?
you just did.
All okay, all right, well, that unanimous approval for the minutes. Moving on. Presentations to the board, none. Move to operational issues. Let's kind of go through it in order, Brandon, if we can. Your report, let's just review the first two monthly client reports.
Yeah, I didn't get your agenda won't open for me, Dave. If you could guide me through that a little bit.
Yeah, nobody's open, so we're gonna change that up here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see, February had nothing special in there. There's a few operational issues which you're addressing. The board doesn't have to be too much in the detail of that. What else do we have? How the recirculation pumps for the trickling filters, or if you have.
We're working on a schedule to get over there, and pull them.
And
We'll get our mechanical specialist to pull them. He was on vacation all last week.
all right, so all the reports have been submitted to required to EGLE at this point.
Yes, I finished up your cross connection report, and that was submitted before March 31st. I don't remember what day in March I submitted it, but I got it submitted.
All right.
One big piece of news is the new air compressor has been installed and it's been working perfectly.
Okay, well, that's good. The only thing else on those monthly reports, client reports, is I noticed you gave end of the year water and sewer totals, which I think that's page 9 of the 47 package. But so the sewer usage is a little over 60 million gallons, almost 61, and the water usage is 45 million gallons. So we got a lot more water going to the wastewater plant than we do feeding the houses and the sewers. So which is a sign of high infiltration, which we know.
Yes.
May I ask what percentage we can expect in terms of water usage in the plant for rinsing and things of that nature, as opposed to what we're selling?
Oh, like in the water, the wastewater treatment plant or the water treatment
Yeah.
plant?
The total, both of them.
I know each backwash is about 10,500 gallons. And we do that once a week, 52 weeks. As for the wastewater plant, I'm
That's
not
familiar.
sure how much water is used at the plant. So I would. So not a whole bunch without doing a bunch of math.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you're cutting out a lot, Brandon, so
Yeah, let
We'll
me turn
have
off my
to-
video. That sometimes helps.
yeah, it looks a lot better.
Thank you.
Just kidding.
Uh,
All right, so the other thing, down the road, I think it's a good idea we do these annual numbers and that we kind of compare, we're getting new meters, or we got most of our new meters, and see how we're metering versus what we're charging. The main meters at the pumps versus what we're charging on the individual house meters. Be kind of interesting to see what the comparison is.
Yeah, you can calculate your water, any water that's any of your unbilled water as well. that
Right.
way.
Right. All right, well, that's just, okay, so moving on from the monthly client reports to the next thing is the F&V annual contract to operate our facilities. This is a standard, we've signed a 5-year contract, and this is one of the fourth, or what year is this? Third year probably, huh? And it's controlled by the consumer price index. So whatever that has been raised is how that has changed is what we, is the change in the contract value. So it looks like at this time, they're looking at a 5% increase. So the monthly fee would go to $10,360. Hourly rates are shown. Is there any discussion on this? Any questions?
I believe when we got into the contract, we realized that there was an escalator based on inflation, and while the economy is, I guess, not completely under control, we can expect these numbers or worse. I would suggest that we agree to the modified contract as outlined with a 5.017 increase, which would currently be at an annual fee of $124,327.80.
I would support that.
We have a motion and a support. This is the money thing, so we got to vote. Correct or no?
Yes.
You have to vote, it's a roll call.
Roll call. We have to do a roll, we always vote, don't we? Roll call for this. Kalaja,
Aye.
Flintoff,
Aye.
Kingsley,
Aye.
Hathaway,
Yes.
Navarre, yes. And McLaughlin and Westman are absent. So that's approved. You're good to work for another year, Brandon.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, the biosolids contract renewal for 2023. First thing on page 20, on page 12 of the packet is the Excel spreadsheet breakdown of the contract. It's got a small numbers. It's an Excel table. It should be number 12, page 12. Oh, yeah, wait, earlier.
I think the,
Wrong order. Keep going. There's the Nutrigo. No, go the other way, John. I saw the Nutrigo contract there. So.
yeah,
Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but I put the spreadsheet first.
Oh.
just to, and then the details of the contracts or bids are behind it. There it is right there.
I think the numbers have changed.
We can also see that.
I think the numbers have changed considerably when we
That's why
last discussed this, based on the cost of fuel. I think that the recommendation that we had from the operating committee showed that the Nutri Grow or whatever was less expensive than the other contract.
Yes.
I think that they're going to be pretty much equal dollar and cents wise. I think we need to defer to Damon a little bit in terms of which we feel would better serve, because I don't think the economics are as drastic as what we see on our spreadsheet because of the increase in cost of diesel fuel.
That much difference? I mean, they had a, well,
They both have escalators, but
no, they had,
it's capped at 2% for the second contract here, whereas,
well, Biotech had a
yeah,
$4,000 mobilization per
Yeah.
event. That's what was the killer
well,
for
I
them.
still think our recommendation that we talked about in our operating committee meeting was for Nutri-Grow. I was just pointing out that
That
there's
there may be some increased costs.
yeah. Neither of these contracts are going to come in at your spreadsheet.
Right. Yeah, I don't see, there's a,
There's fuel escalators in both, but the one is capped.
okay,
So you're still recommending the Nutri-Grow
Yes.
recommendation from the.
I think so, but we need to check with Damon and see if he still concludes that that would be the best fit for us. We don't see him, but I think he's still there, is he?
yeah, you hear that, Damon?
Yeah, I'm looking at the spreadsheet or the contracts right now. I do see what you're talking about where the biotech is, biotech's below $4 a gallon on their fuel price. Although with that mobilization fee per event, $4,000 mobilization fee per event, kind of makes it up for them. And it almost probably runs them pretty even. It's kind of difficult to kind of calculate in that fuel surcharge every time.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that the contracts are going to be very close, I think, economically, once we get the fuel surcharges in. But in terms of, do you think that, not Nutri-Grow,
Biotech?
Biosolid.
yeah, Nutri-Grow
Nutri-Grow, that's what it is.
is a better fit than
Biotech.
what Biotech is?
I've worked with both companies. Nutri-Grow, I've worked with Nutri-Grow a little more than I have with Biotech. Both of them are very reputable companies. They both do a very good job. It's wholly up to you guys who you want to go with. I have no problem with Biotech or them, or Nutri-Grow. Nutri-Grow is working a little bit close, like 20 minutes away in Milan, I know for sure. So they are close, and that's kind of, I think, why he did get away with the mobilization fee.
Yeah, Dexter is working with biotech.
Yeah,
But
so, okay,
yeah, but they didn't ditch the mobilization fee for biotech, so I'm not sure.
well, I mean, I guess both of them are working very close, so I mean, it's wholly up to you guys, whichever one you want to go with.
We just hauled with biotech last week, actually. They did us and then they're going to Celine.
So they're both in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Nutrigo looked like a better proposal to me. I can't believe that. fuel
Nutrigo,
cost.
yeah, had Ann Arbor for years, but they dropped Ann Arbor recently.
I don't particularly care for the mobilization charge for each event.
Yeah, I don't either.
Better make sure they empty your tanks.
Yeah,
Can you put in a codicil saying if you don't empty our tanks, we won't pay the mobilization fee?
it's their kind, well, yeah, we can always try to amend it. All right, stay with it. I think what I heard you say, John, was stay with
No,
Yeah.
Nutrigrow.
Nutrigrow.
I
Also, I
think
just
so.
want to note Patrick McLaughlin is here as well,
Okay,
virtually.
well, I think we should stay with Nutrigrow at this point. I kind of agree with you, John. I think, take a look at the numbers one last time, Brandon. If there's anything that changes drastically, let us know, but I would say we should approve that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well,
I did
I'll
talk
second
to-
John's motion.
Okay, we'll second John's motion to accept the Nutrigrow.
That's your motion, John?
I'm interpreting his earlier comment as well.
Yeah, I thought I heard him say it.
Well, when we had our operating committee meeting, the price of diesel looked like it was going to be enough to maybe make it a whole lot better deal, but with the escalator clauses that they have, it's a matter of service, and then you've got that horrendous event fee.
Yes.
That, yeah, it's nice to be able to get paid for showing up to work, but I think that's a little excessive.
Dexter didn't have an event fee with our contract. I don't know why you got whacked with one.
We have such a small amount.
Yeah, it's probably has to do with it. Okay. So, are we, we'll do a
Roll
vote?
call.
Roll call. Roll call for accepting the Nutrigrow contract proposal. Kalasia,
Aye.
Flintoff,
Aye.
Kingsley,
Aye.
Hathaway,
Aye.
Navarre, yes. And McLaughlin, we know you meant good, Patrick.
Yeah, I am here and I would vote aye if it counts, but I know that I'm remote, so.
Well, I want you to feel good though. All right. Westman's absent. Moving on. Quotations recommended for approval. We have a few. Maybe I can approve all these at one time if we could. The first one is preventive maintenance on the chlorine and SO2 systems for $3,500 plus. The second
3568.
35. And the second one is utilities instrumentation contract, SCADA proposal for $35,995. The fourth one is an iron filter inspection and meter replacement for $11,955. and 50 cents. And then the fourth one is the loss of second meter policy update. Update the estimated charge for the second meter to $628. So when homeowners want a second meter for lawn watering, they can order one for that price approximately.
Are you making that motion?
So I'm making a motion that we accept all four proposals. Any discussion?
I'll second your motion.
Okay, all in favor? All right, let's do a vote. Kalaja,
Aye.
Flintoff,
Aye.
Kingsley,
Aye.
Hathaway,
Aye.
Navar, aye. And, okay, let's move on. Item 5, any other issues you have? We'll talk about the meter battery replacements later. Brandon,
Okay. I don't have any other issues at this time.
all right, great. Ted, you want to report on your status of the reliability study and
Yeah, so, excuse me, we started the reliability study, and we're working on it. We're still on track to get done June-ish. I think that's the deadline, right, Brendan? I can't remember exactly, but, we're on track to get that done, so without a problem.
so we
I think-
don't need a time extension?
Yeah, probably, I don't think we'll need one.
Okay,
Well, I think that what we should target, I'll target the next, operations meeting for it to be a draft ready, so we can review it there and, have a chance to go through it.
great.
The easements, I still owe you guys a letter kind of summarizing where we are. I haven't had a chance to do that in the last couple of weeks. So since the operations meeting, which I think I said the same thing on, so no change there.
Okay. Any other questions, any comments, discussion on them? Any, moving on, status of MDEQ? Issues or permitting or anything to discuss there? Just, we've got this reliability study we got to complete for them. We got our report and we got our reports in for the end of this month. We needed to have those in, didn't we? End of last month, Brandon?
Yes, all the reports are sent in.
Okay. So no issues there. Operating committee minutes. Now included in your package is the operating committee minutes, and I'd like to have 2 items of discussion. One, and I'd like to introduce board members who don't know this. Attending here at our meeting is Andrea Dorning, one of the 3 individuals who volunteered to be on the committee. So Andrea works for the city of Dexter, and
Hey.
And we didn't hold that against her.
yeah. But and we've got some excellent candidates. So as in your package, you'll see some background on them. They sent me a little email. I just responded. I just copied that in there. So you can see what, a little bit of information about them. But what I would really like to do is when we got into this, broke down what I was working on, I realized that we can spread this out and I'll take a little piece that's a little more manageable. So I would like to, my suggestions to the board. Now, I don't think the operations committee members have to be approved by the board, do they? Who knows? Well, I want to run it by you. So I would like to add all 3 of them, Andrea and let's see, Dave Fisher and Lisa. And Lisa's volunteered to take care of or look at and make sure the grounds are monitored around the wastewater plant. That's fine. Dave's a engineer environmental guy, so he'd be great at keeping the website up and documented. And Andrea, I think, would be an excellent technical source for Brandon to use. And for us in our planning to make sure we're meeting our all of our requirements, since we have an old system and the EGLE is starting to look at lead and copper. They got a lot of pressure on them to, make sure everybody's cleaning up their lead and copper issues and other things going on. So I'm proposing that we use the 3 volunteers in that way. I don't think it'll be too timely. It's pretty much up their alley anyway. If we don't need to vote, for your information, I'll go back to the individuals and tell them that we can begin with the committee work.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you, Andrea.
Welcome.
Then the second issue is we discussed at the operations meeting is a big one. Is this new battery replacements under warranty? No progress from Aetna at all. So background, we've got about 40 or more meters that batteries don't work. We can't transmit. They are manually reading them. And we've got no idea of when we'll get meter replacements. They won't take the old ones, but they want the old ones before they'll ship or get us on the shipping list, correct, Brandon?
Yes, and I talked to Dexter last week. They have sent back, I think he said 20 or so. It's been 2 years, he still hasn't got any back.
Yeah, we've talked to Census, and Census says, they distribute meters to, Aetna, but it's up to Aetna whether they're doing warranty work or selling them fresh. So it always makes them more money to sell it to somebody than it is to do warranty work. So since at least in Dexter, we were purchasing from Aetna, and we're kind of screwed because, Aetna is only basically doling out the warranty batteries when, we get totally irate at them. And lately they haven't even been doing that. That's why we Dexter switched to Metron Farmers at meters. And we're going to that following Chelsea, because they also were with Census and couldn't get them to honor their warranties for the battery replacements.
I will restate my.
My boss would love to sue them over this, but it's like $3,000.
Well, I'm going to restate my recommendation that I made to the operation committee, and I recommend that we have Attorney Jim Fink write a letter to Aetna and remind them of their obligation to warranty their defective meters.
Support.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, I would like to do something more than that. We've got to get this off dead. I asked, we got quotes for new meters. Just buy a new meter, and we'll have it a spare then. We'll take the battery or whatever and have it as a spare unit. There's only 40 or so of them. And the quotes were, the meters were what, Brandon, 160? And the new meter is 160 and the new batteries alone were 180.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, with a 50-week lead time.
yeah, with the 50 weeks, yeah. So
What's
even given
the
in
lead time on the new meter?
50, I don't know on the new meter.
Dexter, is every time they've called, it's said it's a new meter, we've gotten it within a week.
A new meter with census?
With, through Aetna. No, with Aetna. Basically, if we wanted a new meter from Aetna, they were getting it to us in a week.
You just take the battery out and put it in the old meter?
Yes, you can, but, well, that's what I'm saying. Is there an alternate way to get this? We need about 40 or 50 batteries. We're not sure the exact number, Brandon, are we? Or Sandy, do you know?
Not off the top of my head, no. I could do a quick count and see how many I had to estimate last time.
Well, we're gonna go through this process in a week here. Let's get the latest number. But I know it's in the 40 to 50 range at least. Or Brandon said it was even higher. I think he had last time. He was having trouble getting some reads.
Yeah, I think I only read like 82% of the meters.
That's crazy. Is there like,
Yeah, well, that's the other issue is how often are these gonna fail?
right?
Why go
It's only
through
been a
this
couple years, right?
process?
Right.
Right.
That's not good.
Does our software allow us to use a different brand of meter?
No, it's proprietary.
Do you use BSNA, Sandy?
Yes.
Yeah, as far as I know, I can have more than one type of meter out there.
Yeah, I've worked with a community that has Badger meters. They're a cell-based system and they work with BSNA.
Badger?
And those are a cell-based system.
Yeah, now that's one step farther than we went to. We did not go to the cell-based system.
Veteran Fairners are cell-based too.
Are they?
Yeah, if you went to I know Brandon probably went to Operators Day, there was everybody's going to cell-based for meters. You know,
Yeah, they
that
are.
was the big thing at Operators Day.
The reason why we didn't go to cell-based was the subscription
Yes,
cost for
charges,
the,
annuals.
we've only got 435, users.
Boy, I don't know, Ted, what are your thoughts? Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
It's a fairly disappointing outcome for that situation. Those guys talked a good game.
yeah, they did. But I don't know, do we step back and reevaluate here?
I think we write the letter. I think
Yes.
that we,
You still do the fake letter, I agree.
at the next operating committee meeting, I think we need to look at all of our options, whether it includes going to a cell-based system where we can use different types of meters. And we've been harmed. Whenever you have 40 or 50 meters that are in the warranty period, and basically they're refusing to warranty them through their inaction. If their meters are that bad, they should have a couple hundred of them on the shelf just to service us in Dexter. They are remiss in not doing that. Can you raise their taxes? They're in Scioto Township.
Oh, yeah, I have that power.
Yeah, they're in the plume. They're over there by Gelman.
Voted on the agenda letter?
No, we just. We didn't technically vote.
We don't need a roll call, but we should.
We voted, but we didn't have a roll call vote. We don't need,
Okay.
We did?
until we spend the money.
Yeah,
We just,
Okay.
Once we
I don't
start-
remember
If
us
the
voting.
majority of those present remember that we voted, then we voted.
I think we're
for it.
good, yeah. You say so.
I thought we did.
We
Of
did.
course,
I just
don't
wanted
ask
to make
me.
sure.
Yeah, no, we totally didn't, but Barb and I are going with it.
And we for,
I didn't write it down, but
Well, I played golf today, so I forgot a few things.
It's one of those ESP.
Got a better score. All right,
Wow.
so this is kind of a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. And I think you're right. We've been harmed.
But I don't think we dropped the ball. I think we gotta go in the other direction too and reassess where we go from here.
Yeah.
So,
Drop back 5
okay,
yards.
for the
Yeah.
next meeting then, would it make sense to the board to have Ted kind of summarize, maybe our options or put something into a spreadsheet or?
Yeah, maybe, we need some information. We
Yeah.
need to relook at the numbers all over again, both for software, for the subscription, for the actual cost of meters. Keep in mind, we had a bit of a difficulty in our last replacement campaign in terms of starting and finishing.
Yeah, I
Still got a couple to
remember.
go, you know.
Oh, we don't want to go through, oh my gosh.
Well, that's what we're talking about
I
here.
know, and
That's why we need to weigh all the options.
No question.
And I think that maybe we would, without looking at any numbers or anything, just looking at the problems that we're having, we might be further ahead to, maybe since you can enter them both in BSNA, run 2 systems for a while and
Yeah.
transition from one to the other,
Right.
as opposed to going through this whole campaign again of
Yes.
replacing meters.
Yes, well, the meters work, so it's just a matter of us then, well, let's say their metering is.
They're metering water, but they aren't telling us.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
nice. Well, does it make sense to have Ted do anything preliminarily for the
Well,
operations?
Ted's doing nothing but sitting there looking at us, so I think that, have Ted kind of list our options.
Does that seem like, you think you can add some value to that or help us with that, Ted, or does it make sense?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I was waiting for direction. I wasn't staring, I was waiting. So,
All right,
He was attentively watching.
next ops meeting, Ted to summarize options. All right, anything else on the, so you have the information there for the operations committee minutes, if you want to go through those in detail. The board can look at those. That's financial. Operating reports. Sandy, let's see here. So we got. What do you want to do first? The finance, the summary sheet? Or the quarterly bills? First quarter bills. So we spent about 95 grand, 95.7 grand. First quarter mostly for contractors. I didn't see anything there that looked out of line. Any questions on those bills?
You said it's first quarter?
Yeah, 1/23 to 3/31/23. Quite high though, isn't it? What do we usually run for the? Well, that's a quarter though. I guess that's not too bad, is it, Sandy? 90.
I don't have last quarter in front of me, so
Well,
I guess,
annualize it, it's
yeah,
pretty
that's,
much on the money,
yeah, it's right about there, isn't it?
as long as we don't have any big surprises.
Mhm.
but if you look at the financial report, I'm gonna sing the same song as I've been singing. The only thing that's out of line is, water repair and maintenance, but we know that. So
Right,
everything else is falling well within budget.
okay, the finance sheet, let's see. Yeah, that's the only thing on the line. 273%. So, do we want to approve a motion to approve the financial report and the first quarter bills?
Move that.
Support.
Move Kingsley, support Flintoff. Doing a vote, Collegia,
Aye.
Flintoff,
Aye.
Kingsley,
Aye.
Hathaway,
Aye.
Navarre, aye. And we know you'd vote for it too, Patrick, thank you. Okay, what else we got on there? Old issues. Okay, a couple things here, let's see. We had an upset, Janet Torno called me, was very upset about, having to, we got a situation, I guess, where she paid for her bill twice, or things got kind of messed up. And then when she couldn't, what was the deal, her check or something didn't, she was trying to pay it by check.
No, she had called me up the first part of February and said that she had sent a check the first part of January and I didn't cash it, so she was nervous that I didn't get it, and so she dropped another check off at the township. And this was right at the start of when I got COVID.
Okay,
I told her if I got both checks, I wouldn't deposit both, but then I got COVID and my husband swung into the township to pick up the mail and he was trying to be nice to me and he processed the checks to get them in the mail or to get them in the bank and then inadvertently deposited them both. So she called me up all upset. I explained what happened, apologized profusely, and I was issuing checks that weekend, which was President's Day weekend. So I had them at the township on Tuesday. There wasn't a second signer available that day. Late that night, the township closed, Scioto Township closed for business the next day because of the snowstorm. Then we were closed the next day because of the snowstorm and the power outages. And so she didn't get her check until Friday, and she was not very happy about that.
okay. Have we got a second signature from a SIO member now? Are we all set?
Yep.
So that's, should that happen? That won't happen again. Have we made steps to prevent that from happening, Sandy? Do you think?
Yeah,
Well, some of it.
I think so. I mean, she was ultimately very understanding, but it was just a frustrating situation that nobody really had a whole lot of control over.
Okay,
We're better prepared
we're better prepared now.
next time.
Sandy, you mentioned that you wouldn't deposit one check. We've got a check that is outstanding from our bank Webster Township, that is. And it was sent on March 6th, and it's still not been cashed,
I know.
according to our bank.
It's
How can something like that happen?
because I don't get very many checks in when it's not collection time. I only get 2, 3, 4, 5. So I wait until I have enough to take to the bank. So they typically go to the bank at the end of the month. So you will see it being cashed here this week.
Can you mobile deposit those?
No,
Really?
not that I'm aware of.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you would be able to do that.
I would think so.
You
I
should
mean, I
look-
can ask.
You should look into that. You see if you need the mobile app on your phone, and then you just take a picture, and you will save yourself a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, and it wouldn't take a month to.
Yeah.
It drives our treasurer nuts when he's trying to
Balance.
balance the statements.
Sorry about that.
Well, you tell him that. I'll tell him that you said sorry, but,
All right.
okay.
All right, so Sandy, is there any, I keep thinking this backup situation is still a concern. What about the idea of getting someone in to do, to at least get some quotes or proposals to do some, let's say just the accounting, just the remote or the billing and meter side of things? Is
Well,
that, what percent of the work is that? Is that,
doing the billing,
yeah,
the billing and the receiving is 98% of the work.
of just customers?
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
I think we need to do something in way of backup. This, we've had a number of incidents over the past 2-3 years. And not to criticize Sandy and her position, but things have to work smoother. We're just so dependent on Sandy.
yes, yeah, definitely.
And we need to somehow support her.
well, I've offered a couple of options, but those didn't seem to appease anybody, so I don't know what.
What were the
I mean,
options?
it-
Your options, I thought someone couldn't have the time to do it or something, or you recommended someone.
I had a couple of different people who were willing to work with me and be there if I needed them to be there. I know at least one of them is still very much willing to do that. I guess from my standpoint, I don't see that it's not running smoothly. I mean, I've had some illnesses and I can't control that.
Well, that's what we're saying,
That's where we
Sandy.
need the,
That's
that's
why
where
we need the
to keep
backup.
going.
Someone
I
else,
understand.
we're not blaming you. I mean, it's the fact
No,
that,
I understand, and like I said, I have somebody who's willing to work with me. We work very well together. And
can you send her her resume or her background, what she would, how, what her skills are, what she's, how'd she fit in?
And kind of like a job description
Yeah.
of what portion of your task would you be doing, not a percentage wise, but which specific things? Would she be running these half a dozen checks to the bank, or would she be doing the download on the meter reads? what specific task could she, maybe on a day-to-day basis, even help you with?
Or even as a starting point, Sandy, I don't know if from, years ago, you might have a scope of work, where you've kind of detailed out your duties.
I haven't ever seen that, but we may have something like that.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to develop.
Or, you know what, you know your role best, Google it. Request for proposals, RFPs for account manager, water utility, and see what you get. You might find some RFPs there that outline the skills and responsibility that you already, so you don't have to, you can validate almost the information. But we don't know exactly where to go on this without that kind of assistance.
No, I understand, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of people who do this kind of work.
There's a lot of utilities out there.
Yes, there are, but those are the big cities that, there's not a lot of authorities that have.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been contacted by Thornton Farms because they're having issues and trying to find a resolution to their issues.
Interesting.
But what I have been looking into is getting a cell phone instead of a landline with the number that I use for LASA, so that, I could easily pass off the computer and the phone to someone that works with me to fill in if I get sick or go on vacation or something like that, so that it's more seamless. Other than the complaint that John just expressed about not banking more frequently during the off months, and I can do that. It's not a problem. It's seemed like more time to spend than necessary to take a couple checks to the bank. But I will check with them on the mobile app to see if that's a possibility.
Well, Sandy, you're our chief financial officer. While you run all the numbers and stuff for us, I think that you need somebody else that understands all of those duties. Not, I just picked out the running of the check to the bank because it was mentioned to me that, hey, you guys got an outstanding check from us. But anyway.
No, I get that.
Let's have a comprehensive look at what you're doing and specifically what people are qualified to do there. And I like the idea that Dave came up with in terms of go online and we aren't the only little tiny utility. I mean, you go any place in the state where they have a sewer plant or a water plant, somebody is doing exactly, what you're doing. I mean, in Webster Township, we have two. We have LASA and we have Portage Base Lake. So it's not that we aren't a big city, I agree, but there are other people doing exactly the same things.
Oh, I know, and I contacted Portage Base Lakes when this first came up, and they have a CPA who does it. I tried to get in contact with them. I explained the situation, never got a call back. I checked around. There's not a lot of, people outside that don't work directly for a governmental agency was my point. that yes, there's a lot of small towns and stuff, but they have someone on staff that does it.
Municipal employees, yeah, yep. Okay. Well,
I will write something up and have it for you at the operating meeting and
yeah,
with
Sounds like a
some
great idea.
recommendations.
okay, that sounds good.
Did you want to talk about the bank fees and?
Oh, yeah, you just sent that, that's what I was gonna mention, yeah. So, can you go kind of summarize your email you sent tonight or this afternoon?
I can. I got in contact with Flagstar to find out if, if they participated in CDARs and what those rates were going to be. So she gave me two different options. One is the CDARS program. That interest rate is between 4.2 and 4.442. 4.42. There's no fees, but it's all fully FDIC insured. But it is CDs.
Yeah, yep, that's all we need.
Right. The other option that they offer is a sweep type investment that they refer to as ICS. And what they do with that is they leave a targeted amount in your checking account, which is currently paying 0.85%. And then they automatically every day sweep money in or out if you need it or don't need it into a higher investment account, which that's paying 3.15. In comparison to their regular savings account is paying 3.65. So it's, 0.5% less. The only issue with that is there is a $25 per month fee for them to do the sweeping in and out. The other investment option that I'm just throwing out there because I know it's available, and that's Class. That is a liquid money. It is municipal only. And the rate sheet they sent late last week was 4.82%. But that one does take more monitoring. If you want to get the money, you have to call them up and have them wire it over. And then you have to wire it into it. So it just.
Is that fully FDIC insured?
Class, I don't believe it is, but I'm not
Okay.
100% certain. As far as the ICS with the sweeping, it's not fully FDIC insured. She says, but you get, because you're government, you get double. So you get the 250,000 for your checking and your savings. So up to $500,000 would be FDIC insured.
But which one was it, CDAR that offered multiple banks so we could?
Yeah. Because what happens with CDARS is you buy it, basically a CD for whatever amount, and then they do basically a paper swap with other banks so that it all stays FDIC insured.
Yeah, that's TD Ameritrade does that. So basically, and there's no fees for that, correct?
Correct.
And why aren't we doing that? I don't know. Just me. Right now, we're paying the bank, Chelsea Bank, $5 a month for,
Well, that's our mistake, though. We've discussed that, in the past years. And what we need to do is pay a small bill out of there at least every 6 months. So you pick a bill, well, I know what I do. I have one car that's on a separate insurance policy. I pay that insurance policy out of one account only. And that way I make sure that every 6 months I take you know, $300-400, you know, out of that particular account. And there's no reason why we can't do something, when you look at all these routine checks that we pay, that we pick on one that's paid every quarter or something and pay it out of that account. Yeah, we could reimburse that account at any point in time from our payments.
But what is that account paying, like Chelsea?
I knew
State?
I knew you were gonna ask that next. That's only paying 0.75.
0.75?
Yeah,
That might need to be in CDARS then.
That's what I'm
Again-
saying. This is, I mean, now is the time. And my concern is we're talking about, we know we're gonna need filtration down the road. We got money set aside for it, pretty much. But that money is dwindling faster.
Well, the price of.
The price of the filters is going up.
Well, some of the technology has actually brought that price down, so
Yeah.
it might be at a break even. If in fact we put it in a CDARS account that's, you know, 3% less than what the economy is.
Yeah, at least put it in something.
you've got about 258,000 in Chelsea State Bank, and that's paying the 0.75.
And
Yeah.
we're paying them $5 a month to keep 250 grand.
Let's move that out of there.
We've got 518,000 in Bank of Ann Arbor, and that's only paying 1%. So, you know, whether we
Oh,
do the CDARS,
so-
whether we do the sweep, you're gonna be making, you know, triple or more of your money.
Well, I think we need to be working on that between now and our next meeting and try to, first of all, have a goal of having as much FDIC insured as possible.
Agree.
And that would promptly mean the CDARS. And we can afford to tie it up for a longer period of time on the base amount or beyond the base amount that we need for our normal operations.
Let me just say, I don't know time frame, John. I'm into it now with my stuff. I'm just staying with 6 months, no more, because the rates are better at 6 months than they are a year or 2 years or 3 years out there,
Yeah,
because they think they're
Yeah.
coming back down, of course.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I would, even the short-term situation isn't all bad, and that way it still frees your money. You can get a step thing going, so you're, this one expires now and the next one goes, you know.
well, I don't know how much stepping we need to do with the volumes of money and when our outlays are and so on. It's different than, you know, having to pay your car payment or
Right,
whatever.
It is,
Um,
but in case that something comes up.
But I think the big point is that we need to move it someplace so it's fully insured and is getting more interest as opposed to the users of the sanitary authority paying the bank to keep their money. I think we need to do it right away.
And a question for Sandy, does LASA have anything that kind of gives some standing guidance, like a, you know, investment policy, some standing guidance to you on this? Or does the board have to make every decision at the board table?
I don't have the ability to do any of the banking other than deposit. Cause I'm not a signer. So it will take 2 of the 4 of you to actually initiate any of this. No matter,
Sure.
We
but
need
the
an
decision-
investment policy. If there isn't one, I don't know how to.
we passed one years ago when it became required. We basically mimicked SIO's investment policy. I will be honest, I have not read it since it was enacted. I'm sure I can dig it out though.
Sandy, why don't you dig that out for the next operational committee meeting? This is gonna put some delay on getting that money moved around, not that we can't move some of it, probably in the meantime, but we need to follow that policy if in fact we have one.
And Sandy, I think even the, MTA, MML, GFOA, they all have sample investment policies.
Well, we've got, our
Yeah.
township policy
Yeah.
too, and we just updated it last year,
Oh,
so
did ya? Yeah, good.
it should be fairly accurate, but we need to see what losses actually says today
Report,
and see what we can do today
right.
and go from there.
So shouldn't, since LASA is part of the other two townships, or basically those governments.
It's its own little body.
Okay, okay.
When we borrow money or something, then it's part of the other two townships. And the rest of the time, yeah, it's its own little
Okay,
As
human
long as
being.
things are going well, it's its own little entity.
okay. Well, that's great information, Sandy. That's the kind of stuff that, we need you to do and be able to do without sacrificing the customer contact, or, the customer side of things too.
Got it.
All right. New business item. Let's see, Jess is gonna create a SharePoint, since we had a problem getting the meeting packet out and it's too big for some emails. Jess is gonna create a SharePoint for all the members of LASA.
Just a share folder.
Share folder
Share folder?
Yeah.
to access the meeting packages.
I found the investment policy. It was enacted in January of 1999. So it needs
Right.
updating.
Right before Y2K.
Sandy, why don't you send that out to all board members?
Yep,
And
I'll scan it and send it to you here in just a minute.
Thank you.
Thanks.
super.
That's back when we were using 4 digits for dates.
Okay. Let's see, so we're at SharePoint issue. The only other thing in the package was the LASA had their annual homeowner meeting, and I had to give a report to the homeowners that was submitted in the meeting packet every household received a copy. And that's in the package, just so you know
Thank you.
what I said and what I didn't say.
This is your report to Loch Alpine?
Yes,
Ah,
to the homeowner association at their annual meeting that they hold. I basically said no major projects are anticipated in the near future, so. They're all screaming about the money. Okay,
You're not gonna tell them that we're replacing all the meters all over again.
Okay, public comment, any comments out there? Public, Andrea?
Anybody interested on Zoom? Please raise your Zoom hand.
Please raise which one is my Zoom hand?
Oh, you're not on Zoom.
All right.
Both your hands are your Zoom hands.
Thank you. I think we've got 4 members of the public here remotely. Thank you for joining.
No, we do. Wow. Okay. That being covered, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Will? Is there a
Support.
second? Jess? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Next board meeting, I think is gonna have to change. I gotta check with, I think it couldn't be at 7. I think there's planning commission on June that date, so I think we gotta do the 5. Is anyone open? Are you open to 5 o'clock again next in June if we need to? Would that be okay?
What do you
5
think?
o'clock meeting?
Oh, 5,
First
yeah,
7?
we close at 4, so 5's great.
Yeah.
The next meeting is when?
Well, I think, I can't remember, Christie said something about the book meeting, the room's tied up at 7. I think the planning commission is meeting then.
I like the 5 o'clock meeting myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, we Monday, June 26th. Yeah.
is planning commission?
Yeah, that would be, so they would be needing the room at 6,
At 6?
or at 7, excuse me.
So we could do a 5 o'clock on the 27th, okay?
Just be speedy quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, we're hour and 10 minutes here.
Yeah, but we'll
Close
be
to-
less than that if we have a deadline.
Yeah.
Should I update that on meeting schedule at 5 o'clock? So we can-
Yes, why don't we put that in the notes, 5 o'clock, change the meeting time to 5 o'clock for June 26th. Is that, can we do that after the fact? Andrea, thank you for showing up. I didn't know you were coming. And I didn't recognize you at first, but
That's okay. Yeah, you mentioned you were gonna decide things today, so I decided, what the heck, I'll show up.
oh, okay.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
We look